All right, all right, all right.
All right.
Okay. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the raw and uncut version of the SellOut Show. Special guest today drops so much stuff. It's Thomas from Modus Engagement.
That's right. So Thomas was referred to us to be on our show, and his topic when he first reached out to us was, I want to do technology, results, not insults. I'm like, that's the weirdest topic I've ever heard of. What are you talking about? So he is going to lay down the 3 T's of how to use technology to get results with your sales as opposed to insult your prospects. So I actually fell in love with the topic. So yeah, I think you will too.
Yes. All right. Keep watching. Watch the whole thing. There's always, as we do with guests, the back of the envelope question at the end and find out Thomas's answer. Here we go.
All right. Here we go.
Whoops, we are recording.
Welcome everyone to the SellOut Show, where we are always sold out. I am Diana Guerin, and I am the irreverent sales girl, where my mission is to bring a dash of dignity to the art of selling.
Hey, Diana. Hey, everyone. And we'll introduce our special guest in a second. I'm Sean Carroll Sandy. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer of the Selling Agency, where we coach humans how to sell to other humans. Because if you're selling like a tone-deaf karaoke singer, you're not going to be invited back to the mic.
Which brings us to using technology for selling. So I'm going to take a minute and introduce our esteemed boots on the ground, phone in the hand guest. This is Thomas, and I'm going to let you introduce yourself. But he's from a company that I love called Modus Engagement. They used to be App Data Room. And they have some of the sexiest, best sales enablement tools on the planet. But why we're going to be talking to Thomas today is that he's going to be bringing us the 3 T's of how to properly use technology in your sales so that, well, I'll let him tell you because it's too funny. So anyway, welcome, Thomas. What would you like to say about yourself?
Yes, I am a sales technology enthusiast who likes to generate results and not insults. That's my tagline.
Results, not insults. And when you sent us that idea for today, I thought, well, that sounds fun and intriguing. And as a side note, I thought the show was going to take a wildly different turn when Diana was introducing you Modus as having the sexiest sales enablement salespeople. I was like, well, okay, Diana.
Sales tools.
Alrighty then.
Sales tools.
What do you mean? So Thomas, tell us what you mean about results, not insults, when it comes to sales tech. I'm really curious, and when you explained this, it actually is a lot of the stuff Diana and I discussed.
Right. Well, I think one of you have said it before. It's a scorched earth philosophy that some people execute on. And they blast emails, and they see who's clicking, and then they make 1 million dials, and it's just not only can it be damaging for your company and your brand, but also it's just a really bad way to get results. And with the short sales cycle, it's something where people actually want to interact with you as a salesperson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a lot of bad selling going on out there. Bad emails, bad follow-up processes, and I think it's really hurting the sales industry and for people doing it really well. I mean, your customers, when they look to pick up the phone or they look at an email, they're filtering all their previous experiences as to whether they're going to respond to you or not. And if you got, you're paying for the sins of the sucky salespeople before you.
Right. Or the sins of myself. I've been embarrassed of people I've had in drip campaigns who are now customers, and I send them an email and look at the previous outbound ones. I'm like, oh, I am not relevant at all with my previous emails. And I was just spraying and praying.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, even as salespeople, I mean, I'm, on my website, I'm listed as the company Chief Revenue Officer. And I do a lot of, looking at different technology CRMs and stuff for my clients. So I do a lot of, demo requests and, drop your email in for content, stuff like that. And Diana does too. Diana, let's share some of and Thomas, jump in here too. So what are some of the worst insulting sales techniques or manipulation you've seen with technology and the sales process? Can you think of any good examples or good, bad examples?
Well, I mean, so I think that mostly I'm going to really be interested in what Thomas has to say about the technology you're using, but it's very clear to me sometimes that people use technology only at the tiniest, like the littlest scrape, because they just look at one little thing about me. I would rather that they didn't reference anything about my company than come at me and say, oh, you're probably interested in lead generation. Where if all they did was looked at my profile, they would see that one of the clients that I sell for is a lead generation company. So
Yeah.
no, I'm actually not interested in your lead generation. Do you know what I mean? So when you use technology to just do the teensiest, like you just got my name, or you just went like a little teensy deep dive, not even a deep dive at all, that's, I think, a terrible use of technology. You might as well not use it at all. You might as well just say, hey, are you interested in technology? Are you interested in lead generation? That would be a far better approach. What do you think, Thomas?
I think my favorite is where you have a drip of like 15 emails. And at the very last one, first of all, the first 15 are pretty irrelevant, and you don't, they might be the right person. They got the right title. You punch them in Zoom info. You imported 300 contacts. You send them all 15 emails on the last one's like, I haven't heard from you.
Like they owe you something. Like they owe you something.
Yeah. Well, I haven't heard from you, and they're people, and then on the other end of the line, they might read it and they're like, I kind of feel bad, but why do I feel bad again? And you just kind of just blew it by that point.
Yeah, I've got 2 examples of, like, actually one was really insulting, like really insulting. Diana, you and I both went to this conference, and the technology vendors there were very few that actually were, I thought, doing anywhere near a good job of what they should be doing at a conference, of engaging people and stuff. It was more like, oh, you have a badge. Hey, can I take a picture of your badge? Here's a $5 Starbucks gift card. I mean, it's so crappy. So this conference was in June, and then 6 months later in January, I got an email from the company saying, oh, I know we chatted and you were interested in this technology at this conference. I'm like, I was not. I don't remember. It's 6 months later. That was the first thing. And then they sent me another one, and I responded back about the time frame it was.
You responded?
Yeah, I actually responded about, like, dude, you're way off here in your time frame. Why are you saying this 6 months later? And then I got a breakup email after that saying, well, you never responded. I was like, but I did. Don't you freaking read these? And then I was so pissed. And then, of course, I can go back and look at the tracking and see that they did, in fact, open my message and no one responded. So that, to me, I was like, there's no way in hell I'd ever buy it, recommend it, whatever. That was like, that baffled me. I did take the time to respond, and I know they read it, but then I'm still in the loop. That's terrible. So
what are your 3 T's for technology, Thomas?
Yeah, so I'm no expert, by the way. So I've been selling in the field for only 3 years, right? I'm a newbie, but with very little.
You're a practitioner.
You're a practitioner, but with very little resources and very little inbound leads, I've been able to dial in my process to get away from the spray and pray and shoot with a sniper rifle and be really direct and get responses. And so here's how I do it. There's 3 T's. It's called tailor, track, and transition. So number 1, you tailor the message, really direct. Hey, I see that you live here, you work in this industry, this is your job title. Here is something from someone who's just like you and what they thought. All right, and then you're tracking. So you do that with Vidyard, you can do it with an email, you can do it with a case study, and I will send this over and over again until I get a response. So I will send the same message, just reply to my own message at 8 a.m. every 3 days until I see that they're clicking on it and engaging with it. All right, so that's tracking. So we're tracking the links. We're seeing what percentage of the video they watched on Vidyard, right? We're using technology to track their engagement. And based on tracking, that's where I get the opportunity to transition. And transition is where you get a call on calendar. That's where you progress them to the next stage in the sales funnel, as Alice Hyman likes to say. And when you get that is really when you're setting the hook. And you're getting the call on calendar, you're saying, who else should we bring aboard? And that is how you use sales technology and marketing assets to drive the sales cycle. Make sense?
Well, absolutely. So you gave us a good formula for tailoring, but what are some other ways that, I mean, like, let's get really specific. Let's get really specific about tailoring, which is another example popped in my head. This technology company sent me an email about the critical importance of personalization and customization in email, and my name was the only thing personalized or customized in the email. And even reference the importance of video. Was there video in it? No. So give us some really specific ways to tailor.
Yeah, great question. So I do a lot of tailoring because I don't have that many marketing assets because we're a new company. There's very little information on us. So, and our company was really just added a lot of staff in the past few years. So I make a lot of my own personal videos. I'll do a video with their LinkedIn profile and highlight things on it. And I see you do this and you're connected to these people and you're in this group. This is why we should talk, right? And this is why we should chat, and here's how I can help you. That is a really specific example of tailoring. But I also think tailoring can even happen during the prospecting process. We're even finding out who to talk to in the first place, right? So you're looking at second-degree connections, and you're leveraging your network, and you're tailoring who you're going to speak with. And I look at job descriptions of the company, who they're hiring, what sort of salespeople they are. Are they outside sales reps? Are they using CRM, marketing automation? Because they'll tell you that in the job description. And if you're doing that, you can pull up a job description and you're saying, you're a sales manager who's looking for this sort of person. This is the sort of person we help for companies like Caterpillar, accounts like that.
Nice.
That's super smart. I mean, so what I really love about what you're talking about here, Thomas, is I think the role of sales development is, first of all, probably the hardest. Today, I call sales development reps the extreme athletes of the sales world. But also, I think a lot of companies misunderstand the best uses of sales development reps. So what they're driving towards is more of this, like Sean had that experience of, we scan your badge, I'll give you $5, right? So what now is starting to happen is it's the race to see, who can get 150 calls in a day or 175 activities, because we're looking at sales as a numbers game. But there is a science to the numbers. Obviously, you've got to be doing work to get results, but you're talking about the art of selling, which I'm imagining that your quality is, I'm imagining that Modus isn't pounding on you for numbers of activities, but numbers of results more, because it seems to me like you're really pouring more quality into your outreach. Am I getting that right? Or can you do quality and quantity at the same time?
Yeah, so when I first started here, I used to make over 100 calls a day, and I could book 4 demos in a day, and I could make good money as an SDR booking demos, because I can cold call and I can twist people's arm to getting time on the calendar and getting them to show up. Like
How charming.
Yeah, right. And I'm skilled at that, but it essentially filled our sales funnel with junk.
Yeah.
So now I do 90-second demos for people who I think are interested, and I'll send them like 3 90-second demos. And if they view all of them, and if they still want to talk to me, that's going to be a lead that's way further in the sales cycle than getting a million calls on calendar and twisting people to get an hour of their time all week. I'd rather take 300 seconds of your time, and then you can decide if we should chat, because people know what they want.
Yeah, you're just pre-qualifying them a little bit there. You mentioned Vidyard, and it really is in quality versus quantity. It's quality at scale. You're really, by using these tools, you're able to scale at quality. I have a 90% response rate by using Vidyard videos. 90%. Right. There's only 2 people, maybe 3 people out there who have not responded to me ever.
And they're getting another video today, I promise you.
Yeah. Yeah. And what Alice always said is you can repurpose content. So if you have Vidyards and those 10% of people haven't responded, send it again and send it at 8 a.m. Send them at different times, and you can keep sending the same video. And if they've never watched it, what do they know? Right.
Right. Such a good point.
So let's talk about technology then, because I love that you're a tech stack geek. Let's talk some tech. What kind of technologies do you love? What are you using out there? What are some of the hidden gems that maybe other people don't know about?
Ooh, hidden gems. So I'd say it's more about how you use it than what you find, right?
Ah.
So I have Outreach and I've used SalesLoft in the past. So Outreach is the automation tool, but I don't use it to program a ton of cadences. And my cadences are actually, I will do 4 steps in 10 minutes instead of doing 4 steps over 2 weeks.
Right.
So I'll call, leave a voicemail. I'm making you a video right now. It's going to hit your inbox in 1 minute. I made it just for you about this. Let me know what you think. And then I'll see if they watch it. And then if they watch it, I pick up the phone right away and then call them immediately or send them another email or whatever it is. So my cadences are boom, 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 boom. And then if they don't respond and I do the cadence, you won't hear from me for a month and a half. And then I'll do a similar cadence again, you know, because sometimes timing's not right, but I have some prospect accounts that I know I'm going to hit. And then getting that time in the calendar is hard. There's this really interesting tool called Duck Soup. It's kind of a greasy little link or extension for Chrome that is a bot that scans profiles that can help drive traffic to your LinkedIn profile.
Really? I love that you called them greasy.
Honestly, it's like worked on and off. So I think sometimes LinkedIn shuts it down sometimes, but it's a bot that can scan profiles. So I'll pull up 200 marketing professionals for a target account and clicks view profiles, and then it works in the background and scans 200 profiles when you're away from your computer.
And what does it tell you then?
Then all these people will just see that I viewed their profile and then go look at mine.
Oh, gotcha.
Wow. Okay.
And then simultaneously I'll hit these people with these really quick cadences as well. And then
so I want to pause for just a second. So viewing people's profile and having them view back, that's one thing. And then you just talked about your cadence is 4 touches really quickly. So if, for boots on the ground, phone in the hand salespeople, take this away from this session is that building familiarity is absolutely key when prospecting. It's seeming familiar. It's being, visible. You are trying to make your way into someone's monkey sphere. You don't do that by knocking on the door and peering in every 6 months. You've got to show up at the door, ring the doorbell, go to the window, take a peek. You have to seem familiar.
But at the same time, you don't want to do it by sending them an email every 3 days.
No.
That's so interesting. So one thing that Sean talks about a lot is being visible, vocal, and valuable. And then we'll just add in the 4th V, which is Vaynerchuk here, who talks about, getting people's attention, right? That's the economy of getting people's attention. So I just find it really interesting, this cadence idea that you're talking about, because in just a few minutes or an hour or something, I've had 4 interactions with you, which is likely to grab my attention. Now, if you're doing this to me every day, I'd want to kill you. But what you're doing is but then you're adding this value of this 90-second, you don't even have to talk to me before you check out what it is that we're going to talk about. And I'm imagining that the value is, because you're so smart, that the value is about what it is what results your clients are getting with you, as opposed to, what you want to sell them. But tell us about these 90-second demos now.
Yeah, so I say you're an OEM, they're an OEM. They sell through a dealer network, you sell through a dealer network. Here's how they did it. Here's some results they achieved. Out.
Love it. Short and sweet, intriguing.
Yep.
Value. I think we say be valuable so often, but people don't really truly know what that means if they don't know what is valuable to their client.
Right.
And in most every single case, what is valuable to your customer is helping them understand how to make a decision. It's helping them understand what criteria to consider. It's helping them understand what the results could be. It's helping them understand what onboarding would be like. It's helping them understand who they would work with on your team. It doesn't have to just be a case study about XYZ. There are hundreds of different ways that you can be valuable in their decision-making process. Really, really helpful.
Right, absolutely.
Where do you find that you're the most valuable, Thomas? Where, at the beginning of these calls, I imagine that you're thinking about who you're going to be reaching out to. What is the value that you provide for them first?
Good question. So the value that I provide them is just showing them trends, right? Showing them places in the industry leaders, right? So we work with Caterpillar, right? They're massive manufacturing company who leads the way in a lot of ways in their industry. And I can at least show you what they're doing. And if you're an OEM, you should probably at least watch, right? Because they spend a lot of money to be forward thinking and hire really good people and retain a lot of their awesome employees for a long time. So you should at least check out what they're doing.
Awesome. Well, the other thing I think that you're doing by really being smart and, how you use technology and the data you're using, but ultimately, okay, I'm gonna get a little woo here. I think selling is a service to people. I really do think that our job is to help people make decisions. And so we have to approach it with, how can I deliver value? But the other thing that you're doing in your sales process with the touches and building familiarity, delivering value, but you're also giving people a preview of what it's like to work with you. And that is like playing in the background of every buyer's head. It's, are they going to waste my time? Are they going to, forget about me once I sign the deal? Like, all these risk assessments are going on. But if you are persistent and if you are gritty and then show that you're delivering value and that you can be familiar and stuff like that, you're showing people what it's like to work with you. It's a preview. And that, you can knock off some of that risk by doing that.
Right. Yeah. And I'm selling to sales and marketing people as well, right? So they appreciate this creative outreach.
Oh.
And I don't think I have a single account that wouldn't hire me. So
I love that. Well, so let me ask you, how are you using technology so one of your T's was Tailor.
Mm-hmm.
How are you using technology, and what kinds of technology are you using? Are you finding trigger events, or how do you use technology to tailor your message?
Tailor, that's personalized vineyard, prospecting through LinkedIn. And yeah, also, I'm not sure if you're aware of this really cool feature on LinkedIn where you can scan profiles like customer databases with Navigator. So that's tailoring like who people I talk to in the first place. So I have all of our current accounts saved to a saved search, and then anytime a person switches jobs who's a current customer, I get a notification. And so that's like tailoring who people I talk to in the first place.
Yeah.
Really, it's probably one of the most valuable tools I've ever gotten through LinkedIn Navigator. We got, when you get a current customer who switches, they could easily go with a competitor. They could call you in a year and you would have never known they left. So being able to track that information live time is just awesome.
Do you use anything like Discover.org or any of those kinds of insight databases?
Oh yeah, I use ZoomInfo, and then I use that with their Reach Out plugin for Google Chrome. So I can pull up somebody's LinkedIn profile, get their direct phone number and their email right there. So as I'm doing my short cadences, it's an essential part of that.
Nice.
And then do you have a cycle sorry, Sean.
That's okay.
Do you have a cycle where you try new technology? Like, how long do you try a new technology before you trash? How long do you try a new technology and figure out if it works for you?
Well, I started doing heavy drip cadences for about 2.5, 3 months, where I was sending 300 emails a day almost. And then I just trashed it because I was like, I can cold call and get more legit opportunities than this. But then I really worked with Alice Hyman to help develop the process of finding people, tailoring the message, and then put my own twist on it with technology on how to make it for 2018, shall you say.
That's good. Oh, that's so good. I think that I really appreciate that you're sharing like the hands-on stuff. I mean, what value do we share? How do we share value? How do you tailor and customize what's in your sales process? But one thing I want to know is, would you share like one of your biggest sales fails with us? Because we like to keep it real, and that is such a part of selling. It's learning through falling down on your face, flopping, muffing up with a customer, botching it, and that's the human part here. Is
like the sales call I had just before this. I called Sean and I talked to Sean and I'm like, oh my God, nobody should ever look at that recording. I've been selling for ages. I did everything wrong. It was awesome.
Right. I have a great sales fail. So we make sales enablement tool that's eventually used by a sales team. So I had a company and a heavy drip campaign who makes furniture for healthcare people and hospitals, things like that. And I had him in an entire marketing and sales leadership in a heavy drip. I saw that one guy was interacting like after email number 7. I picked up the phone, called him, connected. He's like, "Oh yeah. We'll talk. Give me a reach out back in a few weeks," which is essentially never, right? So he was just trying to do his homework and research the company. And then I called one of his sales guys because I was like, "All right, let's see if there's a need here," and talk to a sales guy and see if he's experiencing issues like I think I could help solve. Talk to the sales guy. He's like, "How'd you get my number? Who'd you talk to in marketing? Who are you working with here?" And eventually got back to the marketing guy. And then marketing guy sends me an email right away. He's like, "Never talk to us again." He's like, "You reached out to other people in our account without my permission. Leave me alone." And I'm like, "Oh man." And I quickly CC'd my VP of sales and I was like, "This is Adam. He's my boss. Just wanted to let him know that we're never going to talk to you again." But it's funny. It was actually a few weeks ago. I started clicking on my emails again. But that's.
Well, let's see what you did. Now, Sean, you love this part. So you love what he did there with the preach, say it.
Well, you did almost like a post-mortem and you stayed in touch and you were like, "I'm so sorry. I'm humble." I mean, I found that those people almost always come around if you left it on good terms. They almost always come around. And that is like some of the most satisfying cake ever. It really is. It's just like, oh, yes.
It's the moist chocolate cake that you want to stick your feet in. It's that good.
Stick your feet in the cake. Oh, okay.
Well, I love that you just took ownership of it. And those are the things where I want to go hide underneath a rock and hope that nobody ever knows that it happened. But I just love that you went right to your VP of sales, owned it.
Yeah.
Owned it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But I believe that if I was more tactful in the first place and did the research I should have and had the same sales process I would have done now, they probably would have signed 4 months ago.
Well, there's time. And you can always watch LinkedIn and see when he moves to another company. Because they probably still have the same problems. That's what, Diana's referenced some examples. Like, I've very rarely ever pre-qualified someone and gotten down to the proposal phase in the selling agency to where they didn't sign. And the ones that passed, they boomerang around 6 months to a year later because they tried something else and they have the same problem. So then I add on like another 10 to 20% on the original proposal. I'll get you, my pretty, not competitive or anything. Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your sales fail. I mean, that's like, we've all got them. Like, we're still doing them. That's why they call it a practice. Honestly, it's not. Like Diana, we would cringe to be called sales experts. And there are a lot of people who, call themselves sales experts, but I'm a practitioner. I'm always learning, always practicing so that then I can train people on what's working now and what's happening now. And, if you think, what is it? Ray Kroc said, the founder of McDonald's, if you're green, you're growing. If you're red, you're ripe and rotting. So we're green.
Yeah, and that was really a transition point for me redefining my sales process as well.
Good.
So this was part of the thing that made me shift to where I'm at now. That's led me to be really successful at filling up a funnel with legitimate opportunities. So it was helped me redefine and rethink how I interact with my customers.
Well, I want to point something out here because I could be wrong, but I don't think that every sales organization is as willing to give as much freedom to their sales development reps about their process as you've got at Modus. So can you share just a teensy bit about how you decided that you wanted to work at Modus, or how you made sure that you affected that change and kind of took your destiny into your own hands?
Right. So I used to be at a company called Proto Labs, and we did 3D printing, prototype manufacturing for people who are designing products or, wanted to manufacture stuff. And you had a minimum outbound call volume of 50 calls a day. I paid for my own LinkedIn Navigator. There was no sales automation tools. Vidyard probably would have been frowned upon because we were ITAR certified for firearms and things like that. So it was very strict. And my boss was like an ex-military dude who was like, pick up the phone and call some people, right? And now here it's like, all right, get us legitimate opportunities. And I used to be an SDR here. Now I run the whole sales process from lead gen to finish. So it's I now am working my own opportunities, so I'm not putting junk and passing it off to somebody else. It's like I have to wallow in my crappy leads if I have them. So therefore, that forced me to do it. But yeah, one of the first questions I asked during an interview, I said, "What tools do you give the sales team to succeed?" And because my current company gave me nothing. And he said, pretty much, he was like, whatever you want. He said, we will put you on an airplane. We'll evaluate any technology you want. And I was like, I'll take it, right? Let's do it. Let's get going. Because if you give me the tools to succeed, I'll work hard for you and I'll make it worth your while.
Yeah, I think that, so it brings up an interesting point as before we get to wrap up and stuff, is that I see so many, especially small, mid-sized, and even in enterprise, I see so many companies wasting thousands of dollars on a tech stack because they think it's going to do the job of the sellers.
Right.
And it's the wrong problem that they're solving. It's the wrong problem that they're solving. Technology tools are meant to be used by the sellers, enhanced by the seller's sales skills, and not a replacement for skill. And Diana, I mean, you and I both know a lot of companies that do that. And Thomas, what are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, right. So, and especially for these like 22-year-old SDRs who are like, all right, go talk to executives at companies now and blast them with email. They don't know what they're doing. And that is a lot to do with training, the sales process, using your sales tools in an effective way. And also, like really networking and being introduced to these people, finding out what they're like before you send them 200 emails.
Yeah. Having, acumen, understanding how they speak.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you've just nailed, so I don't know if you're familiar, but Sean and I have a program called the Solid 6 Blueprint, which is how to go from 5 to 6 figures in sales. And there are 6 elements to the blueprint. And you've nailed so many of them. The first one is, the foundation, and that is extreme ownership. And you moved quickly into your new role because you were willing to take extreme ownership and be extremely coachable as well. But you own your territory. The second one is location. And I just love how you dealt with the concept of location. I almost think it's one of the most important things. Unless you have the right boss, the right territory, the right product, and the right compensation plan, you're never going to go to 6 figures in sales.
Right.
And what you did that was very brilliant was you asked the question, what tools are you going to give me to make sure that I win? So kudos. Then the other elements are opening, managing, closing deals, and customer success, and that's all important. But I just really think you nailed those first 2 elements so succinctly. And I love that Modus lets you employ your natural genius,
I've failed a lot of math classes, so I wouldn't call it genius.
Well, no, but every single person has a natural genius. And when you give people the opportunity to, find their own way to a goal with some guidance, then they do things. I'm sure Modus is completely surprised by some of the amazing things that you've been able to do because they let you explore that. So
yeah.
Kudos.
Plug Modus for us. What does Modus do? Just really quick, and then we'll ask you the back of the envelope question.
So we make tools to help transition companies into 2018. Essentially, we can make it so we can fit into their tech stack, so you can have sales driving marketing automation for boots on the ground in the field. People who find the most value out of our tool are usually outside sales reps who don't have internet connections sometimes, used to carry around a trunk full of brochures, and now want to have some 2018 conversations with their customer while also helping it drive their CRM and marketing automation tech stack.
Yeah. So what Modus looks like to me, from my like not very technological, is as a sales rep, I have one device and I can access every single thing about every single product that I have on the fly. And I can send that stuff to my client, and it tracks everything that I've done and everything that my client's engaged with. So just with this one thing, like you said, you don't have to have a trunk of stuff, but you get all of it. As a salesperson, I'm lazy, and so are salespeople.
Right.
Have it all like right there at your fingertips is pretty actually impressive when you're with a customer. I think your clients are kind of like, whoa, that was pretty fast and cool. So that's my synopsis of Modus, and I'm sure it's a very small little window, but
no, basic is key, and that's right. And everybody has smartphones these days, and you need to enable people with the devices they have on them. So it's a really easy, quick way to do that.
Excellent. Awesome. Well, gosh, thanks for all the stuff you've shared today, and you really diving into business and stuff. But, Diana and I created the SellOut Show because we wanted to answer the question, do business shows have to be boring? No, they don't. Because there are so many that kind of dry and suck the will to live out of you because you're just constantly talking about, the same topics and stuff. So we like to keep it fun and light because that's the best way to learn and live and keep listening. So we came up with this thing called the back of the envelope question, because I usually am writing on some scrap stuff, but now we call it the back of anything. Today it's a Post-it note. So I have a Post-it question. This is usually a personal question designed to force you into a difficult answer. Sometimes they're not that difficult, but are you ready for this one?
Yeah.
Okay, Thomas from Modus. Avocado toast or biscuits and gravy? Which is your preference?
Biscuits and gravy. I like the South. and I like it greasy.
That is awesome. Oh man. My husband's mother's family's from Oklahoma, and she makes biscuits and gravy. I don't particularly love them. I like the biscuits. I like the sausage, not the gravy, but she just makes the gooeyest bacon grease biscuit gravy sausage. Oh my God, it's amazing.
Just clogs your pores immediately.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like, oh, it's a good thing we only visit.
Sounds amazing. All right. Well, Thomas, thank you so much for being here. Is there anything else? First of all, if you're a company that's growing your sales development team, you should definitely, obviously, hire Alice Hyman.
Yeah, of course.
But she's been a guest. We've been so delighted to have her. But
it's a great episode, by the way.
Oh, good. Is there anything else that you want to say to your fellow boots on the ground, phone in the hand people?
Stay positive. Keep the action up. Reinvent yourself every day. It's going to be all right.
I love that.
Awesome.
Right.
Great advice. All right. Well, thanks, Thomas. All right, everyone. We're going to send Thomas back to do some work.
Catch you later.
Bye, Thomas. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks.
Okay.
That was awesome.
It was amazing. Thomas was great. I can tell that he has kindred spirits with our entire audience. So I'm really thrilled that he came on today.
I do too, and I'm glad he shared like the detail, and go put this stuff into your practice. I love what he says at the end about reinvent yourself every day, and I think that's some kind of magic. If you can say to yourself, tomorrow's a new day, I get to reinvent myself and try new things, apply new things, talk to new people. That's kind of the magic of sales too. Every day you get to reinvent yourself. So there's a lot of valuable stuff, but to me, that was sort of a wonderful highlight of what's really special and magical about being in sales.
Yeah, it really is. So reinvent yourself and stop hoping.
And start selling.
That's right. Bye.
Bye.